Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everyone. With us again is Miss Stacey.
I'm like, you make my ego so big because
I have the effect on people.
we're just two good friends. We're just talking about interesting stuff that we like, and then you'll be like, oh, it's my wonderful sis, and I'm like, oh, I'm really not that great.
Oh, you're fantastic.
But-
no bullshit.
Okay.
I can't bullshit a bullshitter. I'd say awesome. We have a lot in common, and I love talking to you, and I'm super excited to just have you here so that everybody else can experience why I love you. Because do you want to know what we're talking about this episode?
Oh, of course I do.
We're going to talk about Friday the 13th.
Wait,
I
is
know.
that the
I
right
was like-
side? Yeah, it's the right side.
I just go in the middle.
Yeah. If I do that, I get all cleave it. Well, you do too. Who am I talking to right now?
I just try to, I got to be careful. I have gathered some interesting facts about Friday the 13th. Figured we just kind of talk about it. I figured you probably have some stuff to chime in on too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Again, I just want to let everybody know my sources will be in the notes, and I'm going to put some links for Stacey and Lavender because they're early on Wednesdays. And so their links are going to be down here as well. So you guys can always find them and look stuff up and do all you need to do. And I always feel weird having to introduce people like 5 times. So I figured if you are listening here and you didn't listen to 46B, well, stop what you're doing and go listen. And then you'll get
Yeah.
shameless plug.
Yeah. I started to say, let Tasha blow your mind with that. And then let her bring it back and just tantalize your brain with this one.
Oh, yeah. As we all know, there are a lot of people who have a fear of Friday the 13th. Now, a lot of people say it started because of the belief that the Lord and Savior, Jesus himself, was crucified on a Friday the 13th.
And also they say it's because Judas is how do you say it? Icarus?
Yeah.
That Judas was the 13th invite. He was the 13th person of the Last Supper, and he was the one that ended up betraying Christ.
It goes way back. The fear is scientifically known as, here we go, friggatriscodecaphobia. Say that 5 times fast. And I'm going to break down the name, actually. So the meaning of the name, and so we have Frigg, and that is the Norse goddess of wisdom, and that's actually why they named Friday, Friday. So start there. Then Triskaideka is Greek for the number 13. And of course, phobia is phobia.
Fear of. Yep. Fear of.
Now, some people have just a generalized discomfort with the date. Some have a full-blown, just physical symptoms to the disorder. And some of these symptoms include anxiety or panic attack, hyperventilation, increased heart rate, the nervous giggles, which I get the giggles all the time. And I swear to Bob, there was just something standing right there and there's nothing there. Oh, dizziness, lightheadedness, refusal to leave the home,
Agoraphobia.
partaking in ritualistic behaviors such as walking around a room 13 times to ward off evil, which I don't really understand if you are afraid of 13, how that would be acceptable, but whatever. Hanging shoes outside your windows to ward off evil, and apparently eating garlic. I don't know what that has to do with it, but it was a list.
Well, being a kitchen witch, garlic is a very powerful herb to use if you are trying to ward off, because it's a purifier. So it will purify your blood. It purifies your skin.
That one.
I thought that was because of the cross.
But
Piper.
actually, the reason I think we have visitors, I don't have it on. And
No
my
kidding.
neck has not been red at all. But I usually try to wear it whenever I sleep because for whatever reason, it seems like when I wear it, I don't have nightmares that keep me up all night. But if I don't wear it, I sometimes have horribly vivid and violent nightmares
Mhm.
where my spokes have actually woke me up because I was in the middle of a nightmare. And it was like they didn't know what to do and they're not all bad. One of them's nice. And it like grabbed my little foot, was like wiggled it, like, hey, wake up. And I was kicking and screaming and sweating and all this stuff. And I opened my eyes and there was nobody there, but they were just like, excuse me, wake up. And then they just left me alone. So
Well, maybe because of that, your energy was off, and your energy since your energy attracts, so maybe your energy in that moment of despair, desperation, fear, maybe you were giving off an energy that they feared or that concerned them.
because the night before that, I was screaming bloody murder in my sleep and woke myself up. I scared myself because I was screaming in my sleep.
I've done that.
And then the night before that, I was having nightmares and I woke myself up because I had a pillow and a blanket. I was throwing the blanket, and throwing the pillow and just kicking and sweating. It was bad. But it's okay. Anywho, garlic's the thing.
Yeah, because it's a purifier.
Do you use garlic? What do you use garlic for in a non-cooking perspective?
You
Traditional
can, in traditional cooking
Oh my gosh, your
or
dog's
not.
head like popped up in the picture. Like just for a second, he was just like, and then he went down. It was just so cute because it's like all of a sudden you just had a little puppy over your shoulder, and then he just went back down.
Come here. Come here.
The Gomez to my Morticia.
Yes. And when I think Lily's out of the room, his sister's Lily Munster.
Oh, I'm telling you. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. My cat's Morticia.
See? Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
so what were you asking for? Regular?
from a paranormal or spiritual standpoint, what do you use garlic for?
Because of how potent it is, kind of like an onion. When you smash garlic, it gives off a mist. It gives off an essence.
Okay.
That is why you'll get the smell. And a lot of people that like garlic in their food, that's right when they get that scent, that salvation, that, and I don't mean salvation like being saved. I mean like salivating
Salivate.
is because, thank you.
I got you.
Because they know it's coming and their olfactory system already knows it's coming.
Yeah.
So it gets excited. So if you use that as a purifier of the air, you can roast garlic and put garlic and sage together. And not only will that cleanse the house of whatever is there, it will add an extra like spiritual coating capsule to keep anything from coming in. Garlic can be used in a binding ceremony. And again, because of its essence, because to a weak-willed person, garlic is too strong. So they don't enjoy it. I'd eat it and everything. Give me some garlic cheese, horseradish cheese. Horseradish is another form of a clarifier as well.
I can't handle that stuff. That's gross.
I love horseradish. I love
Loves it.
wasabi.
So I'm just picturing that you take this clove of garlic and you pull the thing off and you get your little kitchen knife. You're going to crush this thing, right? And I'll just like, you crush it and its spirit comes out. Like it's like the garlic goes, oh, I thought that was funny.
Well, that's that's a good way to explain it because that's basically what's happening.
So what
Yeah,
is
and
like
that's
a spiritual warrior in the garlic?
okay.
Like he comes out with like full chain link and he's like on his horse.
Maybe I
am
because of my belief. Well, my belief system, all of my heroes are the goddesses because In Nordic mythology, Greek mythology, the goddesses are always the strongest. They have to endure the most. And especially like with demigods, the goddesses that do not mate with humans, their counterparts do. So the gods will and create the demigod. Well, who has to raise them?
Yeah.
The goddesses. And so in my mind, it's the way I was always taught is you release the essence goes out like smoke, kind of like sage smoke, and it goes out and it fills your whole environment. So it basically encapsulates you to where nothing can get in and take over your soul. Also, garlic can be used if you take it in the raw garlic, the wasabi root, ginger root, anything, horseradish, any of those that causes any type of nasal emptying or any emptying in your chest, any pulmonary.
Yeah.
It and capsaicin does too, but it doesn't work the same. But anything that makes you eliminate germs is also seen as a cleanser. So if you take superstition, let's just use the number 13 as a superstition. So let's say you very superstitious, you haven't been able to avoid it.
Yeah.
And maybe something happened with 13 and you got sick. You got a really bad flu. It's a belief, and I do believe this and I do practice it, is then you take that root and you ingest it in the raw as a whole and you eliminate whatever is in you. And it'll come out in your pores. That's why people eat too much garlic, too much. It comes out in your pores. Yeah. That's why it's a purifier.
I'll live with my demon, I think. Not worth it. But that is interesting because I don't know that much about it. So we'll have to discuss at a later day some more stuff too.
Yeah, definitely.
Friday the 13th. So according to British scholars, date is associated with the old-fashioned art of capital punishment. So Fridays were referred as the day of the hangman or the noose, since most of the public hangings were conducted on those days. And fun fact, there were exactly 13 steps on the walk of death to the gallows. So if they're not just coming back and just really going heavy on it, here's another dose of it.
Also, too, the noose. This is kind of how they determined how somebody would die in a hanging, is that the noose itself was 13 inches around. So if your neck was bigger than 13 inches, then it would break your neck as you fell. But if it was less than, it would suffocate you until you fell, until you died. When you fell,
Okay.
you would either asphyxiate or it would break your neck.
Like, I've been making bets.
They did. Okay,
I
so
would
that's
do it
not
100%.
I was gonna say, so that's not even a joking thing. They did. And
I
that's
would.
why a lot of public punishment, capital punishment, was carried out on Fridays because they would have a festival throughout the whole they would do the hanging, they'd have a festival all through Friday and Saturday, then they'd go to church on Sunday and be resolved of their sins.
I'm horrible.
My degree was in psychology. And I worked with sex offenders, and I can't tell you how many times I sat there
Yeah.
behind my desk thinking to myself, if I could just put
You out.
22 through the front of your head, the world would be a better place.
No, I think you need to do it in public so people see.
I do. I honestly think that was
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we didn't have a lot of the crime that we did at that time, because you knew.
Bob walking around missing his right hand. Oh, he stole something.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Now-
And you're lucky if you didn't die from an infection.
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm old school, but it happens. What I thought was kind of crazy is millions of people worldwide suffer from the fear. I kind of gathered that, but almost 8% of the United States population has it. That I thought was a little high. I didn't think it was going to be that many people, but it kind of puts into perspective. Now,
That's why hotels don't have a 13th
we'll get
button
to
for
that.
the 13th.
Some people have kind of calculated that we lose $900 million on every Friday the 13th because people are too afraid to work or travel. And it's so bad that even the airline suffers losses. Like every Friday the 13th, they lose it. And again, like you had just mentioned, a lot of hotels skip the 13th floor or the 13th room. Now, here's where I get into technicality. It doesn't make much sense if you build the building and you just skip the number, but you just label the next one 14, because in theory, that's still technically the 13th floor. You just labeled it different. Or do they build the floor and just bypass that floor in the elevators and stuff where it's just an empty floor with nothing in it so that you skip the 13th?
I had an uncle that was an if the elevator got stuck, that was who they called. And he worked a lot in like Reno and Las Vegas and resort type of he was flown out sometimes he would be flown out to Florida to do something with the Disney hotels and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And he said one time, because we were talking and laughing about it, and I'm Portuguese, and in Portuguese culture, we do a lot of everything with food and drink. So he was feeling his wine a little bit more than he probably should. And he straight up said every hotel in the world has a 13th floor. But because of how cheap construction companies are, they just don't label it. So there technically is still a 13th floor, or they'll have it as a storage area. So there will be a 13th door, a 13th corridor, a 13th floor, and it'll be just for storage.
That's so cool. Have you heard of the elevator game?
I watched that movie, actually. It's pretty cool.
I'm wondering if the floor, I haven't looked a whole lot into it. It gets a little confusing. If the floor you end on to start this whole weird stuff, if that is in fact the 13th floor. Oh, there's spilled paper. So maybe that is? Okay, so he's telling me it is. I don't know. Or maybe there's 13 steps. I don't know.
Oh, step on a crack, break your mama's back.
Yeah, right.
How many people actually, I know I did as a kid until I got to a point where I just,
OCD. I didn't want to have the crack because I felt like I could feel it through my shoes.
That makes perfect sense.
Just like when I would walk, if I'm walking up a staircase and it's 1, 2, next step, 1, 2, next step. If I get my thing off, I back up and then go back up.
See, that's me and escalators. I'm terrified of escalators because I got my pants caught. I got my pants caught one time in an escalator in our local mall. And thank the goddesses, all it did was rip the bottom off my pant leg. But
something about it, I get so nervous. And I don't like the way it feels. I don't know. It's weird. Now, for those of you who do kind of have a little of this or you're a little bit concerned, there is a plus side. You can never have more than 3 Friday the 13th in an entire calendar year. However, the longest you can go without experiencing one is 14 months. So if you get lucky and there's a big gap, you can't go any longer than 14 months before you see one. And
now I think we have 2 coming up.
I love Friday the 13th.
That's when they play all the good movies.
I got married in Vegas on Friday the 13th.
For your husband now?
No, my other one.
Maybe it wasn't lucky.
Relationship I've had. Now, if January 1st of a leap year is on a Sunday, then January, April, and July will all have a Friday the 13th. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And if you're in Italy, it's not Friday the 13th that's a problem. It's Friday the 17th. that you don't like.
Right. And I think, and isn't China number 9?
I think
3.
three.
Okay.
Spanish-speaking countries in Greece, the 13th falling on a Tuesday is unlucky. And if you look at it, as far as statistically speaking, there really is absolutely no correlation between Friday the 13th and reported accidents, hospital visits, or natural disasters. There is no correlation if you look at the date. Here's a good one for you. I love this little story here. It's not even really a story. It really happened. So I don't like calling it a story, but a 13-year-old boy in Suffolk, England, got struck by lightning at a reported military time of 1313 and survived unharmed. Fast forward to October of 2006, almost 500,000 people in Buffalo, New York, and surrounding areas lost power when they were submerged under 24 inches of snow. Again, in October, 24 inches of snow. Like, y'all, there's something wrong. And we're not talking Arctic or anything. No, this is only a 8-hour drive from my house-ish.
Right. It's, yeah, you're East Coast, so you guys shouldn't.
Yeah.
And you're not even close to one of the poles, so.
About that being married in Vegas, I wish it was actually on a limb. Or a whim. A limb, Jesus. Take my
Probably that too, actually.
yeah. In Viva Las Vegas Chapel, they advertise special wedding themes like zombies, vampires, and even the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The following event also happened on Friday the 13th. September of 1940, the Germans bombed Buckingham Palace. March 1964, the murder of Kitty Genovese in Queens, New York happened.
Yes.
November 1970, 300,000 people in Bangladesh were killed as a result of a cyclone. You don't hear that very often. October of 1972, a Chilean, that's so weird, Air Force plane mysteriously vanished in the Andes. In 1996, Tupac supposedly died.
He's not dead.
Tupac people
I don't, you know what? I don't care what anybody said. Wait, you know what? You and Lev and I should truly do an episode and talk about the Biggie Tupac conspiracies, because I don't think they're dead.
Oh, I don't know enough about it to have a theory, really. January 2012, Costa Concordia cruise ship wrecked off the coast of Italy, killing 30 people. Those fearing this day feel absolute terror in 2029 because it is predicted that a large asteroid will pass by Earth less than 20,000 miles away, allowing it to be seen without the use of a telescope. Can you imagine? It's Friday the 13th, and you see an asteroid, just watch it go by.
Yeah.
20,000 miles. That's that far in space terms.
No, and oh man, can you, okay. So, you're probably definitely not old enough for this, but Halley's Comet.
I know Halley's Comet.
Well, I know you know it, but like I saw it. But could you imagine it? Halley's Comet like burned up the sky when it went through. Can you imagine that asteroid's going to do the very same thing?
Yep.
And if it doesn't knock us out of our orbit, it's going to be so damn cool to see.
In 2029, so 5 years, October 13th, 1989, is considered Black Friday because of the mini crash of the stock market. Babies that were born on Friday the 13th in England used to all be placed on Bibles after birth to attempt to ward off any bad mojo that could happen.
Yeah.
This day was named a National Accident Day in Finland in 1995. How funny is that?
Well, okay. Did you know that it was also on a Friday the 13th that Trump declared a national, what was it, emergency for COVID?
I didn't pay attention to that.
Yep. 2020, Friday the 13th.
Anybody out there, you got the phobia, you got the fear, you're in luck because guess what? There are things that you can do to get yourself through and maybe even over your fear that day. So you can research and know all the facts about the phobia so you understand sometimes what's driving it. Sometimes if you understand why you have the fear, that's the first step in trying to get past the fear. You got to understand why you're being triggered. Also, remind yourself that shit luck can happen any day and not just on a specific day. You might win the lottery on Friday the 13th and then get hit by a bus the next day. You never know. If we all knew it, well, I can't say much because there's some stuff people know beforehand, but we're not going to get into it. Now, also to keep in mind, the added nerves and anxiety that are caused by the phobia can actually increase your nervousness and your anxiety, which can actually lead to unnecessary mistakes. You're so consumed by this fear and this day that you're looking for it. So something that you might not have thought of the day before, you stub your toe and you're just like, oh, I stubbed my toe because I had this stupid whatever in the way. But on Friday the 13th, you're like, oh my gosh, I stubbed my toe because Friday the 13th. Now I'm going to like go down a flight of stairs and break my neck and die. Or
Self-fulfilled prophecy.
Yeah. And some people get so worked up that the physical symptoms they have, you can shake, you can get lightheaded, you can get dizzy, you're more likely to fall and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. Also, talk to a healthcare professional, a family member, or some friends because sometimes they can kind of calm you down. They can put things into perspective, sit with you, maybe kind of keep your mind busy in the process, just kind of get through things. Now, they also have neuro-linguistic programming or NLP, and this is a psychological therapy using language to assist people in changing their thoughts and behaviors. So I think of it kind of, what do they call it? The behavioral therapy or cognitive therapy.
Oh, cognitive.
Yeah.
Cognitive.
I've done some of that. It actually is quite helpful. So it is an option. Some people have even used hypnotherapy to help with their fear. There's a specialized center in Vegas, of all places, that helps people overcome this particular phobia. A whole institution just on helping people get past it. Stacey, what are you afraid of?
Snakes.
I love snakes.
Hate them.
I don't like spiders.
Hate them.
I don't like spiders.
Oh, so okay. Unless the spider is so big that I can stare it in the eyes, it doesn't bother me.
But bugs must die.
But now
Here
here's
it got 8 legs. It's out of here. Oh look, Philip.
But
Philip has spoken.
Philip has spoken. Here's the crazy thing though. I have never had a negative experience with a snake ever. And I'm terrified.
We have those wolf spiders here. My stepson sent a video from his work, which is like 10 minutes from my house. Shit you not, the spider was bigger than the palm of my hand, and it was just crawling. And I was like, nope, kill it. Like, I won the set of a quarter in here the other day, and I squealed like a little biatch and made my husband come out here to get it. But by the time he got off the couch to come out here, it was gone.
I dated a girl that was in the Air Force that did 2 tours in Iraq. When they say the giant camel spiders, and people are like, oh, they're not as big as they. She took a picture of one and it hung up with her honors and stuff. But She had her boot. Here's her boot, and here's that damn spider. And it was as big as her boot. And she was 6'3". So you can imagine how big her foot was.
Yeah. I used to see that somebody had to check their shoes. They lived in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
They had to check their shoes and the kids' shoes. I was like, if you got to check you and your kids' shoes every morning, move. There's something wrong.
Well, my son's girlfriend lives in Chandler, Arizona. And she will stuff her shoes with socks all the way to the top part of the shoe because of scorpions.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Philip.
Philip was like, yeah, I've done that. That's not cool.
Wait, hold on.
I am so afraid of snakes that we went to, he's got a lot to say.
I was going to ask him a question.
We went to Texas Roadhouse for dinner. And where they set us, there was a snake that was up on a board on the wall. And it was the skin, and then it had the whole head.
Yeah.
I made them move us. And pissed my wife off to no end because we had to wait like 15, 20 minutes before we got sat back down again. And she just kept saying, you're so dumb. It was dead. I'm like, that sucker had a big old head on it. I was not going to be able to eat.
Yeah.
Sorry. Very few things scare me, but that does.
I am scared to death of driving over bridges.
You are not the only one.
And mannequin.
It's never a mannequin.
Like going to the store and there's a man and people in I can't do mask. Can't do it. I can wear a mask, but if I can't see your face, I want nothing to do with you.
Okay, I'm going to take just a guess and say childhood trauma.
No idea. I think what it is because I am so intuitive and sensitive, I get a lot from looking at people, a lot in their eyes and their face. I can tell so much. And I get some if I can't see their face, but it's something about not being able to read it. Really, it gets to me. And it's kind of like, I don't like water you can't see in. If it's not a pool or a bathtub, see a little puddle.
The shit bites you.
If it's a puddle and it's muddy puddle, nope, I will walk around.
Yeah, no, there's shit that bites you. I don't care.
If it's dark, I don't like it because it's not that I'm afraid of the dark. It's that I don't like that I can't see what's in the dark. That's what
your fight or flight or freeze instinct doesn't know how to react. Because if you're walking around say it's 11 o'clock at night, you're walking through downtown Disney or something, and it's all lit up, you're okay because you're getting that empathic feeling from somebody, but there's enough light in the area, in the environment for you to see and be able to decide what you need to do.
Yeah.
But in a mask or in pure dark, you don't know how to react. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Like even people like Mickey Mouse, speaking of, nope. Goofy, any of those, nope. I want nothing to do with you. I can do the princes and the princesses and all of that. That's fine. But you bring those motherfuckers at me, I'm like, nope. I'm like, you stay the hell over there.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with you. I did dance with Mickey at Disney. I was surrounded by people, but that was about it.
Well, and also, too, if their handler is there, it's usually a pretty safe situation because if anything happens to Mickey or Mickey does something, the handler can intervene.
Yeah.
And I got so razzed about this. We took my niece and nephew, and they were real little. They're in their almost 30s now. And Donald was walking around with no handler. And the actor would put his hands out, and then he would waddle like a duck, waddle over. But the minute that the actor, and I can't say the gender because you don't know, but the minute the actor would see a small kid, that was a little bit away from its family or a little bit away from an adult would beeline toward that kid. And I about punched Donald in the face
I
because
would.
he kept touching my niece. And finally, I went over, and she was 7 at the time. So my nephew was 9. And I went over and I did like one of these kind of spin moves
Yeah.
and put her behind me to where my mom was. And I leaned over and I said, "You motherfucker, if you touch another little kid in my presence, the world's going to see who you really are.
Yeah.
Stop touching my kids." And
Rough.
after that, well, yeah. And after that, Donald did not come out without his handler.
Good. It's just some of the stuff they have is just so crazy. And it's just, I can even be in my own house. I can be in my own bedroom. And if the lights are on, I'm uncomfortable. Just because I don't know. I just can't. And I'm talking, my thing is locked down. We got alarms everywhere, cameras all over the entrances.
Yeah, us too.
But I still,
I, oh, yeah, it's understandable though. Especially, okay, so going back to your driving over bridges. So I worked with a psychiatrist. His name was Dr. Les, and he could not or would not drive the 10 freeway in SoCal because of all the overpasses.
Mhm.
And
I
we
get
had to go
super nervous.
we had to go to a conference in San Diego that took us 7 hours to get to because it was back when you could put MapQuest, and when you would
Right?
print out, yeah, and it would say avoid tunnels, bridges, tolls, all that
Yeah.
crap. Yeah. I'm not surprised he didn't have us in Mexico before we got to the conference.
My thing is it doesn't matter if I am 100 feet in the air or if I'm 3 feet over a creek. It does not matter. I have on my keychain, I have one of those window busters and a seatbelt cutter. I've got one in my car. They're everywhere. And I had this dream that was so real. And I've actually had more than one dream, and they're very, very vivid and feel very real. And a lot of
Right.
times it's usually like me and my kid, and something happens on the bridge. We get turned over or whatever, and we can't get out. We can't get out. And no matter what we do, or I can get him out and I can't get out, or I can get out and he can't get out. So it's just made me very like hyper aware of the situation and try to do everything I can to not allow that to happen.
I have a recurring dream. I'm in the driver's seat and I don't know who's in the passenger seat. It's somebody very close to me, but it's not like I can look and see who it is. And I've gone in this dream, I go where we take an on-ramp too fast. And I soar off the edge. Now this dream is so realistic. I can feel the pressure in my chest of the seatbelt and then that sensation of falling.
Oof.
And I wake up every time just blood curdling screams because it's so real.
Yeah. So other than snakes, have you ever had any fears that you were able to overcome?
Yes.
No?
It's like what like I heard, yeah, whatever earlier too. So one of my greatest fears growing up was of men. And it was, which is funny because my abuse was not by a man, but I feared men. And I think it started when I was 11 or 12, because by the time I was 12 years old, I was my full height. I was 5'6", and I already had a double D
Yeah.
chest.
Yep.
So I, at 12 years old, looked like a grown
Grown
adult.
ass adult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you too. Yeah. And I grew up in a small town and I've never been in the closet. So I was always open about who I was. So I can't tell you how many times that I got the threat of, I'm going to set you straight. That was always something I would hear. I'm going to set you straight. And I avoided doing business with men. I avoided having medical personnel as men, anything.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want anything to do with men in any way, shape, or form. And then my sister had my nephew, and I was 22 when he was born. And I told myself that little chubby cheek baby was going to grow up to be a man.
Yeah.
And I could either fear him or I could teach him. Then I ended up with a son. In the desire to teach them to be good men, I had to teach myself to not fear men. And it was rough. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna I was in so many situations where I would step back and just say, you know what, I can't do this. But, and especially if you have superstitions, let's use 13 as that superstition. You have to go deep within yourself and find a reason that is strong enough to overcome it moment by moment. You're not going to overcome it all at once.
Yep.
But let's use 13. Let's say you have OCD, you go to lock the door and you notice that the lock clicks and it clicked on the 13th try. So you have to dig down and find that about you are the cutest little ginger.
Okay.
Hello. Hello, big kitty. Oh, hello, big kitty. You have to dig down into your reserve and you have to find that positive reason as to why you either unlock it
Mm-hmm.
and do it again, or you do it one more time and you get it to 14.
Yeah.
You have to find whatever it is in you that is stronger than that fear. And it's never going to be easy, and you should never do it alone.
Yeah. It gets really hard. When I was a kid, I did a stint in Kansas when I was under 3 or 4, maybe.
Oh, wow.
We all know how the weather is in Kansas, right? By the time we made it back into Indiana, when I was like 5 or 6, I was absolutely petrified of thunderstorms. I would shake and get sick. If it even thunder, I would curl up in my bathtub with my pillow and blanket and sleep in the bathtub until I was 18. I mean, I was any thunder, the rain I could handle, but if it was lightning or thunder, I would shake and get nervous. It was not good. And then I had my son, and at first all they do is shit, eat, and cry. And so he didn't.
Pretty much.
And when he started to get to be a toddler, one day when he was little, I remember there was a storm and I panicked. And at the time, we lived in this huge 3-story house and the basement was finished. It was basically an apartment down there, bathroom, shower, the whole nine. And it was fantastic. But if it would I freaked out and I brought all of us down and me and him sat in the basement where there's no windows. There's nothing. It's barricaded. And he looked at me and he's like, "Mommy, why are you scared?" And then I'm like, "What?" And I just didn't think about it. It's just like, to me, it was just an impulse. And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Why are you scared?" And he's like, "Should I be scared?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go." So then when he noticed that I was getting so scared, I didn't want him to grow up like that. So I had to tough it out. It started off with, I was in the basement, but aside from that apartment piece, we had a big open piece with windows, but it was still underground. You could just kind of see, it was kind of like built into a hill. So you could see. And so I still felt safe in there. So we would go and play in this big room with the windows, even though it was storming, so that I was around it, but I could still get out if I needed to. And then we got to where we'd go upstairs and then see how long we could make it before we went downstairs and all of that. And it's just, It is very, because it's like every fiber of your being is telling you to respond the opposite of what you're forcing it to do.
Yes.
It's so uncomfortable. But now, just a few weeks ago, here we had horrible as there's a funnel cloud right above my freaking work. I found out about it later. And a siren started going off. The whole entire town lost power. My kid was home alone. And I was 3 blocks away. And I grabbed my keys and I literally pushed my boss out of the way. And I was like, I'm going to get my kid. I'll be back.
Right.
And I got in
Right.
that damn car and it was like, you couldn't even hardly see. I didn't know where, thankfully I knew where I was going because I've, been here my whole life almost. And I went and I got him in the car. We ran in the building. But I was like, I'm not going to leave him alone. But I was like, the fact that I went out, didn't even hesitate. I grabbed and ran. And I was like, I'm going. And it's crazy wind and all this stuff and sirens blaring. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to get my baby. Like, I don't care.
It was the,
But look, I feel like
I saw Philip was just proud of you for that. That's what I'm talking about. That's that core strength. That's what you get in. My mom always taught us, and I say the same thing to my son now, is she always said, when I'm scared, that's when you need to be scared.
Yep.
You don't need to be scared until I'm scared. That woman was never scared. Never scared.
Yay. Now my son's like, nothing scares you. Like to him, my kid's like, if he's in trouble or something, he's like, I'll just call my mom. She can mess you up. It's like, I can do anything. I can do anything except reach the top shelf. I can't do that. But like, he helps me with that because he's freakishly tall. I'm like, well, had I not forced myself to be okay, would he have felt that secure thinking that I could help him? You know what I mean?
And that's the thing is they're called superstitions for a reason. And here's where I'm gonna play scientist and
Ooh.
therapist and all that is it is your mind.
Mhm.
And your mind is powerful. Your mind is the most powerful organism in the world. But it will shut down in a second.
Yep.
The moment it realizes it's in danger. And you have to grasp whatever that fear is and decide in this moment. Like I could sit here and say, I'm terrified of snakes. No big deal. I don't want to be around them. I don't want you to bring them. Nothing. If I was on a trail by myself and I saw one, I'd hightail it out and be gone. Well, my son's 17 and he's 6'1", I think now. He's still growing. But I guarantee you, if I had him or my almost 7-foot tall nephew or his son on that trail with me, I guarantee you I'd have that snake by its neck and it would be dead.
Yep.
Because that's where your survival instinct kicks in. And a lot of times, especially women, not to say anything about our men. I can't speak on what it is to be a man because I'm not one. I never
I got a
have
funny
been, never
story
will
for you
be.
when you're done.
But I can tell you as a woman, my natural instinct is to care for the things that I hold dear.
Yeah.
I biologically can never have children. So the children that are now adults or on their way to be adults or still children in my life,
Yeah.
I love them as if I gave birth to them.
Yeah. It is a very strong instinct. But when you're talking about, I got to tell you the story. So my stepdad is a rough, tough ex-Air Force. Now he looks like Santa now. He's got the big beard, wears the camo, hunts, fishes, all that stuff. Just good old boy. He's a good old boy. Now, he also does not like snakes. And we used to live in a house that was in the middle of nowhere. And we would have to cut the wood. And then we had a big box in our living room where our wood.
Oh,
And so we would have
God, yeah.
we had a big stack where we would cut the wood. Then we would bring the stack outside of our patio door, and then we would fill the box inside from the patio and then fuel the furnace. He was in there going to throw some wood in the furnace, and I'm standing in the kitchen. He's in these like shorts with pockets. They're like cotton. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And he's like, snake, snake. And he will not get off this couch. I had a cat. Her name was Kiana. And Kiana was in the living room. Well, he screamed. The snake came out of the box. My cat goes after it. And so she's batting it around and all this stuff. And he's like, get it, get it, get it. So I come in and I'm just laughing like I'm a teenager. I'm in like a sport bra and a little pair of teeny tiny shorts. My cat's hissing at me and growling and swatting at me because she doesn't want me to take the snake from her. So I'm fighting my cat for the damn snake while my stepdad's on the couch, standing on the couch screaming. And I just grabbed down there, pushed the cat out of the way, grabbed it, and I just had a hold of it.
There was a wood box. It was right next to the fireplace. The fireplace was all open. But and this thing had a slot. So you go outside and you grab the handle, pull it up, and you just shove the wood through and it would fall into the box. So you didn't have to pick it up and carry it in.
Oh, that's nice.
And so we had cooked, we'd had a fire, we were all sitting around, just drinking hot chocolate, just having a great time. And my mom kind of is leaned back, and then all of a sudden I see her do this, and she kind of again. And I'm like, I said, what are you looking at? What'd you see? Nothing. And she gets up. Now, mind you, like I said, the slot, you had to open it from the outside. And somehow that slimy little bastard found its way in, and it was sticking halfway on the outside of the house and halfway in. And my mom gets up and picks up like a little small wood, like a kindling. And you just see her hand go up the shit out of that thing. And she hit it a good 2-3 times and just bashed its head in. Then went outside, took it out from the slot and tossed it out wherever, come back in. And I'm sitting there white as a ghost. And my mom's like, oh, did you see our visitor? I'm like, no, I didn't. I did, but I'm like, when everybody went to bed that night, I took duct tape and duct taped that fucking thing shut.
What it probably was is it was probably either wrapped around a piece of wood or in one of the crevices, and it might have just fallen out when you tossed it in.
Probably.
We weren't having it.
Probably. Yeah. But I was no. And I was 31, 32 years old. No, because I'm sitting here alive. That's how that's never happened. Philip liked that one too. Philip's like, go ahead, crossover. I did drive through New Hampshire. I went with a friend to take her daughter to New York to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove through, so it was fall. We drove through New Hampshire. And I look out the window, and then I just and then all of a sudden it occurred to me what I was looking at. We were going through like a wooded part of the highway, and there were trees on my side, on the passenger side. It was a whole other freeway on her side. It was spider webs had completely encapsulated the tops of the trees. And then you could see black dots. And I looked and I said, stop the car for a minute. And she's like this. No.
Yeah. Nope.
I said, I think I know exactly what you're, no. And she wouldn't. And she white knuckled that. And I'm like, I just wanted to take a picture with it. No.
Yeah, there's no way. I'd be like, we will drive straight into hell before I let you get out of this car or stop this car for a picture. And I was in the shower and I was washing my hair and I was like, scrub Devin, and I opened And I look over and there's a huge like wolf spider in like I have 2 layers. I have a clear layer and then the decorative layer. And it
Yeah.
was in between the layers. I screamed like a little biatch. And then I waited and I took the sides and clapped and thought I squished it. I was beating the hell out of it. And I let go and the fucking thing fell and it wasn't dead. It started crawling from the bottom of the shower. Oh my gosh. I was like butt naked, suds in my hair, and I was running out of the bathroom.
I was going to say, did you become projectile?
So I like was, yeah. Yeah. Thank Philip. I'm glad he was playing. So
Philip he loves our misery. I
he
can just
actually
tell.
really, he's a jokester. He likes a lot of humor.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
that's okay. That's why he likes Kevin.
Yep. Kevin's very funny. And I think that's why. And what's crazy is it wasn't just when Kevin was recording with me. It was, we were doing a live and Kevin came on. And as soon as Kevin showed up, it started going off.
Well, it goes off every time we say Kevin. Talking about Kevin, can we just plug his hot sauces?
Oh my gosh, yes, for sure. Kevin is the host. There's again.
See?
Thanks, Philip. He does Where the Weird Ones Are. So he's been on my show before. We talked about the Wendigo. And he has this line. I am so excited because I think he's going to be at Cryptid Con selling his sauces, I think. And
Is that next year? Next April?
no, November of this year.
Oh, I was going to say,
I've
because
already got
whatever it
tickets.
is
I'm going, yep. All right.
because I started to say, whatever it is that you guys go to, you and Lab go to in April around her birthday.
Paracon, yeah.
Paracon, I'm going to be there. I'm coming out
I'm going next year too.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can be a vendor. I don't know. We'll see. But
I'm going to see if I can be solo.
well, Kevin, Where the Weird Ones Are, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Cryptid Con, and I am trying my best to save up money because I want to buy all of them. He has what's he called weird sauce, so he makes his own hot sauce with ingredients that he's got. Like I saw him out in the field, a video of him picking his blueberries for his blueberry hot sauce.
Yeah,
And he's
blueberry hot
picking
sauce.
by hand. He uses all natural ingredients and everything in it, and I'm so excited. I've actually been talking with him about maybe getting my own labeled sauce. Maybe. We're still talking about it, but I wanted to do something that was like a ghost pepper. But seriously, go to Kevin's website. You can find his website through his links on all the social media. And you can go and look up weird sauce because it looks amazing. I've heard nothing but great things about his hot sauce. So seriously, go check it out and buy some. I'm going to get some too. And I might actually eat some of it. As soon as I get it, I'm going to be eating some and putting a video out there so you guys can see me eating it.
Well, you'll never see me eating it because I have a stomach that doesn't even handle Taco Bell's hot sauce.
Oh my gosh, it's like nothing.
Well, here's another thing about plugging his sauce. The wide variety of things you can eat it on.
Yeah.
Is it because think about A1. What is A1? It's beef. That's all you can really do with A1.
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody that I've heard that have his sauce and eats his sauce, they said that you get that nice subtle heat. It's just enough to enjoy it, but it enhances the flavor of whatever food you're eating it on.
Yeah.
It never overpowers it.
He's got blueberry. He's got lemon. He just had the new one that came out for Down the Rabbit Hole. I can't remember what he had in it though. But I'm really interested in blueberry and try that. So the flavor that I had was I wanted to do like ghost pepper honey.
Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. Merch. Weird sauce. He has. So you guys just go to Where the Weird Ones Are podcast website, and he has hot lemon squeeze, blueberry heat, green apple sizzle, and down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I cannot wait to try them.
Seriously, they're only $18.
Yeah.
They're only, and you're supporting one, you're supporting a dad. Two, you're supporting a small business 3, you're supporting an entrepreneur. And 4, you are telling this guy that what he's doing not only is valid and appreciated, but desired.
Yes. And for me, one thing that I think is so great about his sauce in particular is because he only uses the natural ingredients. You're not going to find all that nasty crap in it and stuff like that. Like it's going to be hot, but it's going to have flavor. And that's what I just cannot wait to see. It's gonna be like Kevin's hot sauce. So I do want to just let everybody know real quick, along with Stacey's links that I'm gonna put down below and my links that are gonna be down below and the sources, I will go get Kevin's website for the sauces and I'll put that link down there so that you guys don't have to hunt for it. Just go down to the description and click on it and it'll take you right to the sauces and I will give him some tags whenever this episode comes out. So that way he'll be on the stuff. So you could just look at my post and then go straight to his profile. Again, Stacey, thank you so much. I absolutely love being on with you. I can't wait to see you on more lives that we have on Studio Sinister.
Oh, definitely.
Shout her off too, because we haven't given her a shout on this episode yet. So Studio Sinister YouTube channel.
Thank you for letting me spend the afternoon with you because of all the wonderful things you've said about me. Let me say a couple about you because truly you are one of the most interesting, just ingenious people, charismatic people that I know. And I blame it on your red hair.
It's the
But
I'm black because when my lights are the way they are, and you can't really tell that my hair is like super orange. But if I go out in the sun, I look like a freaking pumpkin.
oh yeah, yeah. And like I was telling a friend of mine, I was telling her about you because she is wanting to learn more about cryptids and stuff. And so I told her, I said, look, 2 people you need to listen to is you need to listen to Natasha. And in fact, actually, BJ, you better return my damn shirt. She's got my cryptid shirt, cryptid creeps. But you bring it and you bring it in a way that you can't help but get invested. And then not only are you invested, you want to know more.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing what you do. And thank you for including us in it.
I always have a blast. I think it's really nice to have people on that. I don't want to have like that stick in the mud. This whole thing is me. All of it is me. I am the only hand that touches everything from the designs on the merch to the website. All of that has been my own 2 little hands. Yet I am going to be almost at 50 episodes soon. And
Wow.
I have only done 1 solo, and it was only because I wanted to try it to see if people liked it. No one ever gave me any feedback, but I have been so graced with everybody coming in and having a very interactive episode. Sometimes you get into some where you're listening and it seems like the chemistry's not right, or somebody doesn't really talk a whole lot. The person pretty much does all the talking, but they don't really bring any ideas. And one thing that I like so much about the people that I've had, and you in particular, is we are very similar. I think mentally and from our viewpoints as far as what's possible, we kind of have a lot going on that's in the same bucket. So it's really nice to kind of get those juices flowing because we kind of, instead of it being idea versus idea, we're kind of like idea and then it's compound. We're like a combo here. And it just builds and builds and builds into something you can see both sides. I like to keep it open. And I feel like that's one thing that's so great about having you on here is that we can go both sides, either skeptic or believer, and not necessarily commit to one and be overly zealous about it and poo-poo the other. We like to get into what is it, like dissect it, analyze, see what options are there. And that's just awesome.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. We're having conversations with you is we can have a topic and maybe some of the ideas of that topic just are so far-fetched you can't even believe them. But there's others that are just, there's too much truth.
I was on with somebody and I kept going. We were doing cryptids in their area and whether or not I believed in them, and I would take a tissue, I'd be like, throwing a flag on the flag. Oh.
Philip liked it.
And I get a lot of activity with you on here too. So the last few that I've done, it's been cricket. They haven't wanted anything to do with it. And you have gotten Philip and one of the kids into it.
The kid just tickled me to death. And you know what, Mama Kim showing up tells you that it's okay. Yeah, I'm still here. I know that you love me.
Hi.
Well, and what's the what's the 3 things that gets a woman out of bed the quickest? The word mom,
A dog
a
puking.
cat puke, a cat puking on the bed, or a dog
just a
puking
dog.
on the carpet.
He's still going, man. This is going strong. We're definitely putting
Well,
some
Philip,
clips up.
I started to say, Philip, thank you so much for showing up because you made this a lot of fun.
Yeah, it happened, but oh, see, you're welcome. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. That's so funny. He's been very interactive.
Alright.
Actually, both of them. So sometimes they'll line up, but they aren't like super interactive. But I've just Philip a lot of time really is pretty interactive. He likes to answer
Uh-huh.
questions and do that kind of thing. And sometimes the kids do, but the kids usually want to play more so than answer questions because what kid
Mhm.
doesn't?
You can't be anything but.
From my door, but I see them here. Like my screen door was making like it was wiggling. Yeah. Find her too. Don't forget, again, check out the links, check out the description, check out the links that I have in the description if you guys want a little bit more details or anything like that. Or you don't believe me, well, read it and weep, suckers. But again, also give Stacey some love. Which with the gift 666 suckers. Okay, leave off suckers. Just go, show some love, like, subscribe, do the thing, give them listens, help everybody out because we're a community here. I am part of a community. I like to think we're all one big happy family.
Yep.
Maybe slightly dysfunctional, a little weird. We're all a family of big black sheep. So until next time, everybody,
Good night, or goodbye, or good morning, whatever.
whatever tickles your fancy, wherever you are in the world. See you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and rate and review the show wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show by allowing us to be found more easily when other listeners search for us. If you have a chance, head on over to www.patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy and become a patron. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shout-outs, access to the private Discord server, and video versions of episodes, both regular and members only, that are raw and unedited. So they're always a good time. As an added thank you to the Big Show patrons, we also are going to be giving out custom stickers and mini prints after 3 months of membership. I'm currently offering a 7-day free trial, so head on over and see how awesome being a member can be. Before you go, click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some of the self-designed merch, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, magnets, as well as pants, swimwear, the best tumblers I have found yet as far as merch is concerned, dresses, office supplies, and more. Visit the Square merch store. You can also follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please don't hesitate to send them in to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experience on a special listener episode. Just make sure to specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show, and let me know whether you would like to have your real name or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you again so much for all your support, and I'll see you next time, my friend.